So the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen is finally out, where we focus on Chozo versus Kenjaku, and Chozo is not looking good at all because this chapter, even though Chozo tries to put on a fight, Chozo is just keep getting whooped by Kenjaku because Kenjaku is way too much powerful for Chozo to handle. But it's very interesting because in the last chapter, which I failed to mention in my review, that it seems like the events what happened last chapter and now that this is in the future, because it seems like it was like 2 days ahead after we saw Yuji met up with Megumi, Tabataba, and the Angel. So it seems like the calling games has concluded and Kenjaku got all of the cursed energy that he needs so that way he can merge them with Tegan. So now we can see that the battle continues because at the end of the last chapter, we saw that Chozo used piercing blood. And before we even go to the beginning of the battle, we get a flashback of Chozo's talking to Yuki and Tegan, and he's telling them like, hey, let me go ahead and fight Kenjaku by myself. And that way you guys can analyze his technique, his fighting style, what curse abilities he's able to use, and all that. But Yuki is saying that, bro, you will die if you fight him alone. And so Chozo is just like, so do you want us to fight together? He was just like, no. He was just like, this way is much better because of the fact that you guys will have like the upper hand because you guys can see what techniques and fighting style he's able to do so you can take him down. So he was just like, I don't care if I die. The only thing that I care about if he dies. So the object of the game is if I can able to make him use his domain. And Yuki says, so right after he uses his domain, he'll be in a state that will be hard for him to use his curse technique. So I'll ambush him right then and there, right? And Chozo says yes. So there we continue on with the battle as we see that Chozo is using piercing blood, and the piercing blood is going toward Kenjaku, but Kenjaku, he was able to dodge it and release one of his curse manipulation. And this is when we see how powerful Kenjaku is and how skillful his curse manipulation technique is, because his curse manipulations technique is so powerful and is actually a great ability because you can create offense and defense with this ability. Because while Chozo did his piercing blood technique and it actually hit the ground, Kenjaku actually grabbed pieces of the tiles and then he hid one of his curses and he threw the tiles to Chozo, and as the rock and the cursed spirits that's surrounding the rock going towards Chozo is unfazed. He was just like that weak ass attack, supernova, to blast away the cursed spirit and that tablet. So all of a sudden Kenjaku goes towards Chozo, and Chozo, he goes ahead and he prepares for himself for a hand-to-hand combat, and Kenjaku is just continuously beating Chozo's ass with a whole bunch of punches and kicks. And then Kenjaku, he is just like, okay, I'm gonna go get you, but he didn't notice that a piece of the supernova automatically was right next to him and exploded. But unfortunately it didn't work because Kenjaku used his curse manipulation to use as a defense to shield him from the blast. And as so far throughout this chapter, this whole chapter with the whole fight scene with Chozo and Kenjaku was 100% amazing, and how the art that is displayed here is just 100% crisp. But let's go and continue on with this fight. So Kenjaku is telling Chozo like, hey, my plans for Yuji, because Chozo is like, hey, what are you going to do to Yuji? Like, what do you have for him? And then so Kenjaku reveals that, you know, as long as he continues to coexist with Sukuna, he is the circle of the curse that would never end. He will become the eye of the storm of the new era. So he's just pretty much still has use for Yuji. And I think what he's trying to do is that Yuji is going to be the center of everything that he's wanting to do with the merge of Tegan. So Chozo, he does not like that answer, so he goes ahead and uses piercing blood close to Kenjaku, but Kenjaku was able to dodge it in close range. So Kenjaku is really fast. So Chozo says, as long as you coexist, you are the source of the misfortune, Kamayo nor Torshi, not Yuji. So he didn't see that Kenjaku was able to have the curses all around wrapping his legs. And then so Kenjaku goes ahead and he just continuously pummeling him and beating him up like left and right. And Kenjaku goes ahead and steps on him. And Chozo, he still is on the ground as Kenjaku continuously just stomping on him and pretty much insulting him. And then he says, like, look, I already know what you're doing. You trying to reveal all of my curse techniques for Yuki to go ahead and try to attack me, but you're just a failure and it's not going to work at all. And he says, unfortunately, I only plan to use curse spirit manipulation for you with a lower curse spirit that you are, and then rather something simple is no needed for them. And then he just continuously stomping on him and just continuously just wailing at him and insulting him and just continuously just laughing. And Chozo is just like, you know what, I'm done with you talking shit about me. And I'm doing this because I am the biggest brother and I need to protect my family. But then Kenjaku was just like, nah, I'm going to use this technique that I did on Yuji at the end of the Shibuya arc. And he used this quid technique and he said, do you know what it means to be a special grade sorcerer? And then he continues to telling Chozo like, oh, did I hurt your feelings? I was looking forward to you for so much and yet you disappointed me. Maybe I could be proud of you because you make me talk so much. And then so he continues and he says, someone who can overthrow the country with a single hand, that's what it means to be a special grade sorcerer. And then so he says, you know, Gojo obviously qualifies as Geto too, because curses, spirit manipulations could produce an entire army of monsters. So can you even take me on with your level? And then Kenjaku is just continuously just looking at Chozo as Chozo is on the ground, knocked out, because Chozo, he is shirtless, his hair's all over the place, and he's missing an arm. Well, kind of like a hand, but still, like he's just missing a limb. So at this moment, Tegan is just looking in the background of this fight and he says, you know, Yuki, can you jump in at any moment now? And Yuki's just like, no, not yet. This fight is still continuously going. And then so Chozo says that I have failed as an older brother, protecting my brother, bear than the burdens, becoming as their role model. That is it. That's what it means to be an Onichan. And he's so frustrated because at this moment, Chozo, he is just like, all right, man, I felt my role as a bigger brother. I'm supposed to be the strongest one, and I'm supposed to be handling this buffoon because this buffoon is causing all this mayhem and all of our pain and burdens. So he is just like, all right, I need to get up, because he starts thinking and visualizing, you know, Yuji and the two other brothers that he lost. And he was just like, no, I gotta stand up. And he was just like, please lend me your strength so I can continuously go ahead and beat up Kenjaku. And then so you just see like a huge roar of blood just like spilling out. It seems like, you know, Chozo is having like a huge power up. And then we see Chozo getting back up on his feet, and we see that, you know, he was able to grow back his limb, missing arm or hand or whatever you want to call it, and then he's ready to go. And as we see that Chozo has a huge power up and he's ready for round 2 against Kenjaku. Kenjaku, he's just like, wait a minute. Oh, so you got back up. Okay, like I'm a little bit shocked. And that's just how the chapter ends. And this is very incredible because seeing, you know, Chozo fighting Kenjaku, and even though, you know, Chozo was getting his ass handed to him, it's great to see, like, you know, Chozo, he still has some fight left, and it seems like, you know, he's going to probably level up, but we don't know yet for sure. But we all know that Kenjaku, he's going to beat Chozo, so any moment Yuki can probably jump in at any moment in time. But let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. What is your guys' favorite moment? Let me know what your thought and everything is. And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monto Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe.